Lijiang, a great control map type. We've seen some of it today, but I think we're going to have potentially some different looks coming out, especially with the Valiant. Like you said, I think KSF has talked about this in the offseason, being a player who had to play that hit scan role out of necessity for his team, but now bringing on KSP, just a hit scan superstar, lets KSF go right back to his comfort zone.
KSP just kind of feels like the UK's answer to Corey, and anyone we've talked to, and if you had your own eyes last season, you were able to see that KSP, he's for real.
Definitely having great performances in the World Cup. Can't wait to see his Overwatch League debut, but I'm honestly more excited to see what Dallas can put together. I mean, this is such a star-studded roster. My expectations are very high.
Just take a look at the Dallas starting roster. Behind the gates, there shouldn't be a whole lot of surprise here. Doa did play a lot of hit scan back in contenders, but also with Flex to May, gonna let Decay be the hit scan star here today.
The really interesting part, though, is we have KSP on the Symmetra. Might elect to go for a cheeky TP. There are some great abilities to cross that mid gap on this point.
The gates are open. Both teams hang to the center, and the Fuel not wasting any time. Trill right out there early, and Trollgate focused down. Trill barely saved by the Immortality Field to save things out here. And now we look towards Decay on the flank. Dig down, Fuel. First elimination to their side. KSP striking back. Both Reinhardt's out of the fight. Decay looking for anything here on the flank. Damage from the side, but Guangzhou is down, and the Valiant are slowly pushing this in their favor.
KSP on the Reaper, just so durable. Decay getting a lot of damage, but it's not enough. Trading the Rhine, I think, will benefit the Valiant with their D.Va. It's a little bit better when you have that one tank left. You'd rather have a D.Va.
So Valiant's going to get first control here, trying to silence the crowd early.
Definitely looking to get aggressive. Laster on the Cole. This is going to be crucial as they rush forward.
Valiant's looking to contest the White Room, moving on in. The Fuel going to try and bust on through it. Mortality Field used early. Mortality Field already down. The Valiant still looking strong. Laster of the Coalescence just forcing the Fuel out.
Great defensive play from the Fuel, though. They wait out this ultimate. Now they're going to have a window, but it looks like they're going to rotate back around to the other side. Create some space for Crimzo's Amplification Matrix.
Take a look at Gig. Gig, Shatter, drops it. Shatter. Guangzhou falling immediately, knocked off to the side. And this puts Fuel in a real rough spot. They're already down one. The Valiant's still pretty healthy. Blizzard getting thrown out. No! The Blizzard does its work! Decay with the follow-through.
What an impressive commitment from the Dallas Fuel, dropping one, but still coming back and winning this fight. Decay with some fancy footwork on the edge of the map, and Dallas Fuel takes the control.
First control for the Fuel here in round one. We'll see if they can hold it.
And now it's the Valiant's turn. They're going to have to retake into this devastating potential Amplification Matrix Fire Strike combo. Sometimes that can just cut down your whole team, so the Gravy is going to have to be very cautious of that.
Door now holding back. They're going to drop the Amplification Matrix, looking to focus down McGravy. And a rough spot to beat, though. He's going to keep him healthy. Meanwhile, Trill dropping a Shatter on the other side. Valiant looking to push through. They drop the Blizzard. KSF and Gig following on through. The Blizzard has done its work.
Valiant, great retake, moving fast, but wait, Dallas Fuel striking back. Decay's still alive, and he's still fighting Guangzhou with the Supercharger. They're still in this.
Somehow, some way, Decay able to turn it back the other side. Well, there's once a really good start for the Valiant, turning back around, and the Fuel still holding on, 44-45.
Now that's 2 times in a row that the Dallas Fuel have turned it around, down 1 player, so maybe this 7th man is really having the impact they were hoping for.
The Fuel right now feeding off the energy of the crowd. The Valiant looking for a way in. Coalescence, Death Blossom on deck. The Fuel gonna give it a little bit of space. Seeing the Ice Wall down early. Decay looking for the Deadeye in the back. Looking for any skulls to pop on up. And Inflation plays off! 2 for Decay!
McGravy charging in, needs to shut him down, but Decay's being kept alive by his teammates. KSP charging forward, but cut down!
Decay so well supported, moving around. He is the threat that must be eliminated.
What great plays from the supports on the Dallas Fuel, keeping Decay alive, understanding that if you can just protect this McCree, he will cut down absolutely everyone that the Dallas Fuel, that the Los Angeles Valiant can charge at him.
And the Fuel, again, they're letting the Valiant move on in. They're not trying to contest the White Room even a little bit.
It's a great strategy here considering they have no D.Va. They don't want to fight in these enclosed spaces. They need to kite back and make space, buy time for that Orisa to get shields one after another dropping down.
Early wall going to be out. Goha in the back, looking for the chance to Blizzard, respecting McGravy as it goes on. Gig drop the Shatter. Fuel able to use the Immortality to stay alive. Decay still in it. And Decay with the R2. The Blizzard's eaten. But we'll see if it matters. Decay finally falls. The Valiant looking to bring it up back. It's KSP back the other way. And KSP might have just kept the Valiant in it.
What a clutch from McGravy. Will it be enough? It looks like Los Angeles Valiant is going to be able to scrap back control at this point off the back of a huge pickup by McGravy.
And yet the Fuel are still delaying. The Fuel don't want to give this up, but There's no more point in going for extra delay. You're already at 99%. What's next for the Fuel?
The big question for the Fuel is, can they leverage this sound barrier? Rain only at 71%. If he can get his sound barrier online, it will keep the Valiant alive, but 30% is a long way to go in that final team fight. But the question is, can the Fuel get aggressive enough to make this work?
We're gonna find out now. Early Coalescence out. Shatter used early from Trill. Puts KSF on the ground. And yet, the Valiant still able to stay alive. Meanwhile, Decay poke at the side, gets KSF! Once more, Decay, proving to be a deadly assassin for the Fuel. KSP, though, not done. Death Blossom to the back, finds Crimzo, and now on the hunt for a Cowboy. Decay backing out, not out of it. Gig falls on the other side, and both teams scrapping back and forth. The Fuel, though, starting to get a little bit more momentum. Moving on forward, Decay still alive, healed up, and the Fuel about to retake the point.
Valiant, they have to answer this. Point control for the Fuel. Time's running out, but a huge blizzard from behind. KSF with a huge lane.
The icicle to the head. It's neutralized Decay. The Valiants are moving back on Egg. Gang is down, but the blizzard is out. KSF making it frosty here, trying to get the Fuel off the point. And the Valiant, they're about to retake.
What a flank from KSF, keeping the Valiant alive in this match. Fuel, they're going to be forced to switch back to a fast contest comp just to be able to stay alive, but they're chasing forward for more frags of the Valiant.
94% to 99. Now the Fuel are in the danger zone. Guangzhou now just barely responding. Decay has to buy time. Decay moving on in. They've touched the point. They have to try and stall to get back up to a full 6. Closer dropping early beat, only hits 3. The Valiant pushing forward. They bring Trill on a ride. Trill and Doha out of it. And the Valiant very close now to getting round 1.
Somehow the Valiant brought this one back. Now Gig with an uncontested shatter, if he even needs it, closing this one out.
The Valiant now on cleanup duty. The Fuel once with momentum in the round, falling one by one to the Valiant as they claw it on back.
I thought that round was solidly in the Fuel's control, but somehow KSF sneaks up from behind, picks off Decay, and once you cut the head off the snake, I mean, the Dallas Fuel's comp does suffer a lack of damage without that McCree.
And this is nothing new, even for as well as Decay was playing. If there's a McCree on the other team, he should almost always be one of your primary targets.
If you can't shut down the McCree, I mean, he'll just eventually chip you out. He's really the highest potential damage DPS that you can choose in this meta. So I see why, you know, the Fuel wants to put Decay on it, but KSF's so clean on that flank, and you know, it's really the Los Angeles Valiant being so scrappy, constantly getting back into that game.
Never giving up fights, and it's kind of funny, we talked about it. You kind of mentioned that McCree is essentially replacement Hangzhou now.
Now it's KSP's turn to take a swing at the McCree. He's been a deadly hit scanner here, so we'll see if he can handle Doha on this Doomfist. Now Doha's really the key player for Dallas. What can he find to get a pickoff going?
Doha does have a very solid Doomfist, not quite as good as the Sombra, but no, slap. That's what we call a little bit of a caster curse, but he's still alive. See if it lasts for long. Fuel though, in a rough spot. Doha falls, couldn't make it work. The sleep coming in from Lastro, very nice for the Valiant. But Gig has fallen, the fight is not over yet, and the Fuel are starting to fight this one back.
The Valiant may have overplayed their hand here. Dallas Fuel standing so strong in the corner of the map, using that Devil Shield comp to perfection, and it looks like they're going to be able to get this first control.
The Fuel not giving up on that fight, even with a rough initiation, works out. They're going to get first control.
This is how you have to play the Rhine Orisa. Don't give up until it's over. That double barrier can be so devastating. You just get that one last Orisa shield down that the enemies can't deal with, and you can clutch from those corner positions.
Now look towards Crimzo. Amplification Matrix online. The Fuel just got to play this back. A little bit more poking. All gonna deny a little bit use of that. The Valiant moving on in. Gig built up the shatter. Doesn't have a chance to drop it. KSP meanwhile on the flank. Deals with Doha 5-on-5. McCree unleashed can be very deadly. Look out forward. Looking for a little bit more. The shatter from Trill drops. But as he falls, both teams fighting for supremacy. Decay, KSF, both based on the point.
Supercharger and the sound barrier, just too much from the Dallas Fuel. They will hold on to the control, and what an important fight to win.
The Fuel maintain control, and I could have said better myself, Jake. That was a fight the Valiant needed, and the Fuel are very much in the driver's seat.
Dallas Fuel looks like they just want to set up on point here, electing not to hold the choke. No, they will be moving forward once all 6 of their members are back. Definitely wanting to leverage that Orisa shield all the time. Just force the enemy to break the shields while you're charging your ults.
Valiant, they're not wasting any time. They're just moving on in. Gig charging forward. Shatter at the ready. Blizzard backing it up. The Fuel desperately trying to disengage, but Decay couldn't get away. Shatter drops a little bit later. Gig looking for the pin. Doesn't quite get it, but damage has certainly been done. The Valiant going to be retaking, but the Fuel are in a great spot.
Lots of control going their way, but now it's the Valiant's turn to be in control, and I just want to highlight that from Gig. Great patience on the Shatter. He waits for the sleep to time out. He buys all the time in the world for the support abilities from the Dallas Fuel to time out so that they can actually get that kill onto Trill. So that's great patience from Gig, showing impressive stuff from a rookie.
Should the Fuel be burning ults in this fight?
It's very, very winnable for them, especially with this great rotation. They're the ones on point now.
Wall gonna be up early. The Fuel trying to stay alive. They're gonna drop the Blizzard. Chilling out the Valiant a little bit as they try to engage. Self-destruct in the back. Deals with Crimson, but Doha does a little bit more. Back to the other side. Ends up with 3. Doha cracks the point wide open.
Doha with a 4th and a 5th. Doha, what a monster on the Doomfist.
Really nice stuff coming up from Doha, showing why he was one of the most valued players and contenders last season. The Dallas Fuel, they're one good fight away from evening this up 1-1.
That was a just great Blizzard from Decay, slipping it just past the matrix of McGravy to be able to set up that kill on the last run. The team fight just fell apart from there for the Los Angeles Valiant. Now they're really just working with this nano boost, trying to enable Gig's Shadow potentially, but it'll be tough to get value with Doha able to CC the Rhine.
A little bit drained. Doha charging up, doesn't go for it just yet. KSP moving forward. Deadeye, a little bit confusion, moves in. Immortality Field barely saving against that Deadeye. And Trill was too low. Trill could be healed. And Rain moving in for some of the cleanup. The Valiant at a good spot. The nano boost is out, and the Fuel are in hot retreat.
Gig does find that Shatter onto his counterpart on the Rhine. That's huge, enables him to get the kill, and now it's Valiant's turn to take control, but the Fuel, all they have to do is win one team fight, and they have a huge support ult advantage. This sound barrier couldn't be further away for Rain, so the question is, can they somehow corral the Dallas Fuel when they're going to be immediately initiating with a Doomfist? With that sound barrier, they have so much aggressive potential.
How does Valiant get an early pickoff here, if at all?
It's really all on KSF's Blizzard, but you know Closer has that speed boost, so it'll be tough to get a consistent one.
Rain in the skybox, time moving forward. KSP already down! Crimzo isolating him at the end of the hall for Blizzard, though. It's pretty big in the middle, but it's not enough. The Fuel, enough got away. The Fuel cleaning up 1 by 1, 99%. But while this went on, the Valiant, they were able to get on the point, but it shouldn't matter because most of the Valiant, they're gone.
KSP, the only one even able to touch, but it's just too little too late here. You don't win a 6v1 in this situation. Wow, what insane stuff there from the Dallas Fuel. That team fight from Doha, picking up 5 kills on the Doomfist. You know, we thought this hero might be a little bit out of favor here, but on a map like Night Market, it's really great for finding those back walls, finding those consistent one-shot knock kills.
I think it's just a testament to how much the meta is in flux. We talked a lot with the teams beforehand. It's not quite how it was when everything was in NLA. Not all the teams are scrimming each other. You almost have your own disparate metas developing, and teams are willing to try new things, especially at the start of the season.
And I think especially with hero pools on the horizon, people have a keen eye towards flexibility. They understand how valuable that will become as the league season goes on.
Evidenced by the Dallas Fuel starting lineup. Who would have thought there would be Trill and Guangzhou to start things out?
Looks like Valiant with this Moira pickup wanted to get very aggressive into the white room. Dallas Fuel as well with the Orisa want to play this fight a little bit slower.
The Fuel a little bit closer to the point, moving forward, trying to take the fight, backing out a bit. They don't want this to be a full stagger. Gig chasing quite far, healed back up in time. Both teams a little bit back and forth. The Gig a little bit far, dealt with by Doha. 5 on 5, still winnable for the Fuel, and the Fuel is trying to come back in. They've dealt with the front line. Trill back into the fray.
Fuel sustaining so well. The Coalescence does come down for the Valiant, but with no tanks left, it'll be tough to hold this. KSF does find Crimzo, so limited fuel heals now available for the Dallas Fuel, but Blizzard's being committed from both teams. They want to fight this out.
It is getting frosty here. Neither team has control of the point just yet, but Decay into the backline does a little bit of damage. Deals with the Moira, doesn't get hit with the pin. Moving around, they deal with Gig, and the Dallas Fuel very close to getting first control here on the control center.
This Ryan Orisa comp just working out so well for the Fuel on these initial mid-fights, getting so much value off the shields. You can see, I mean, it's just so much more difficult for the Valiant to be charging their ults as quickly.
So now, the Fuel are in a really good spot here, Jake. This choke point of Lijiang is difficult to get through.
Definitely, though, it looks like they're going to be able to get a successful rotation, get into white room, but sometimes this second choke can be even more deadly than the first.
Superchargers are going to be dropped. The Valiant in a little bit of danger. They have to drop the beat early just to not get poked down. Guangzhou, he sees his opportunity. He's going even forward. And the gravy to the back! The bomb takes down 3, and the Fuel caught with their pants down.
2 shields, but neither of them available in that circumstance. What a perfect bomb from McGravy. Sets up a quick capture for the Los Angeles Valiant, and we've got ourselves around here.
So the Valiant fighting right back. Both teams, tooth and nail here in Lijiang. It's 1-1 in the Valiant, just getting their first control.
Expect to see the Valiant get very, very aggressive here. They're setting up between the two chokes. There's really nowhere the Fuel can run and isolate them with that coalescence. But a huge shatter from Trill!
Trill opening the way. The ground is pounding, both in-game and here in Arlington. The crowd is loving it.
Absolutely, that's massive stuff from Trill. Catches the Valiant right as they come around the edge of the ice wall. They didn't see that one coming. Valiant getting a little bit of capture off that last teamfight win, but not much. And now again, Fuel up to the chokes. This time though, will the Valiant go for a different rotation?
We will see. Dallas Fuel right now at the front of it. Amplification Matrix out.
KSW
right now.
the flank.
Ooh, the Fuel back and forth right now. Doa, so the spot the shatter, or both Reinhardt's charging against each other. Trill out of the fight early. Guangzhou back the other way, and the Fuel still maintaining control here at this choke point.
Fight's so chaotic, but it does break down in favor of the Fuel. They may not be able to hold this choke though. With Trill just coming out of the spawn, it'll be tough to beat the spawn advantage the Valiant can bring to bear. So we might see this fight taking place on the control point itself.
The Fuel still hanging on. The Valiant looking for a way back in. 72% for the Fuel. This is starting to get close to last fight territory. The Valiant need to break something open now. KSP moving forward. Now Blossom up directly into the front. But the Valiant unable to guess what they want. Shatter the other way. The Fuel though still hanging on. Gig able to get the pin on the Trill. The Valiant moving back forward. Investing Colossus. Decay is down, and the Fuel starting to get pushed off the point.
The Fuel going to be able to get to 99 control here, but there's almost no way they can win this fight. That Fleur Coalescence is just devastating without a counter hold. Crimzo strikes back for one, but not enough there, and the Gravy just resetting, wants to get back to the fight in his mech suit.
Fuel though in a very good spot here. 99% to 35, and the Valiant are looking drained. What does the Fuel need to do?
I will say it's going to be tough for the Fuel to win this team fight though. With that huge sound barrier advantage, Valiant have shown a lot of confidence in diving in on the enemy team.
Rain opens with the Bear to start things out. This is KSP and KSF. The Fuel dropping the application Matrix, trying to get out, and that was a very good disengage from the Fuel.
Great amp Matrix from the Fuel, scares away the Valiant. They don't want to peek into that, and they rush, isolating Gig. Can they take him out?
Nice immortality fuel by Crimzo, keeps the Fuel alive. The Fuel moving forward, the 40 push Gig. Decay, he's gotten into the back line, looking for Lucio. Drops the Death Blossom, moving forward. The Fuel trying to pierce it through. The bomb could be dangerous, but no. They're able to dodge away, and the Fuel moving right back towards the point. Decay, he's still thirsty. He still wants more.
Decay wants to finish this map off. Now Valiant going to have to touch in overtime. The Gravy onto the Hammond, but can they touch it all? Lastros going to go for a suicide play just to keep the fight going.
Trill dropped the shatter, Lastro out of there. The Valiant trying to charge up through it. Doa having none of it, already frozen out too. Looking for a little bit more. The Valiant, they've charged in, they've swapped the Hammond. Doa right now chasing down Gig on the other side, but look at KSP. KSP has the Death Blossom. Where is he at? The Fuel, they're giving up a little bit of space. They're trying to play this more safely. Gig down. Death Blossom KSP to the back. Neutralized, frozen, done. The Fuel well on their way. But they have to deal with KSF and Lastro first. The Valiant are not out of it yet.
Support still alive, but that amplification matrix in the backline gonna enable Crimzo to just deal all the damage in the world, healing up everybody. Looks like Dallas Fuel starting to control this situation, but the Valiant are streaming back in. It's anybody's fight.
The Valiant will not fall. They drop the beat. They're moving on in. Meanwhile, Doa drops the Blizzard. Able to ice block just barely. Keeping himself alive. Sets up the demise of Gig. And the Fuel, they're coming right back. They don't want to give this up. They want to treat the hometown crowd here in Dallas with a bit of a show. KSF gonna fall. And the Fuel starting to gain advantage here and now. And they've done it.
What an insane map one from the Dallas Fuel. There were so many moments when I thought Valiant was going to take those maps, but it's the Fuel coming out on top. And with series that close, you have to think this hometown crowd energy is really having an impact.
What a way to start things out here. The Valiant looking stronger than how many expected. But the Fuel feeding off the energy of the crowd. We'll see you after the break. It's getting a little bit late here in Dallas, but the party is just beginning. The Fuel clutching it out just barely over the Valiant just a moment ago. What a great map that was.
Just a total game of inches. I believe every round going to 99-99. Just insane stuff from both teams. Lots of great plays.
No doubt about it. And I mean, it's really a testament to the idea that right now, no fight is over until it's over.
especially with heroes like Mei, McCree, and Reaper. They can just burst down so many opponents so quickly if they get out of control. So, you know, as a team, you have to be really careful. Keep that phalanx formation. Even when you get up 1, up 2, we've seen teams come back and we've seen teams throw from those positions. So, you know, this is not a meta where you can just snowball off a +1. You need to keep playing smart.
I mean, the moral of the story is don't get sloppy. Don't give up your advantage. You gotta be strong. And now, we got a little bit of a substitution coming on in. Trill, he served his purpose here on control. And now it is Note back into the fray.
Note, a player we've seen alongside Gamsu before, getting that perfect stage with Boston in the past. So the question is, can that synergy continue? And I think that the answer is yes. I mean, Note's a player who's just been just a perfect D.Va player. I mean, you watch his bombs and you think, wait, oh, that can't go. Oh, man, it just is exactly where you need it to be. I mean, he's so good with those deceptive bomb angles. You don't think it's going to be there, and it just lands right on your head.
And I think the thing that really stands out about Note is that Note is always solid. I cannot really think of many instances where people have gone to a team Note has been on and go, you know what, Note's the problem. No, he's never the problem.
Just such a consistent player, and that's exactly what you need in the off-tank role. Somebody who's just going to be holding it down for your team, not only finding those clutch plays, but also staying alive through the team fights, never getting picked off. And with this new buff to D.Va, she can really take over the game.
Now, one of the interesting things to look at here tonight is that there has been a little bit of a day curse going on where the team that wins control somehow loses the entire series. The Gladiators came very close to breaking that, but not quite. Now we have to wonder, will the Fuel be the ones to break that curse?
Well, I got to tell you, no matter what the statistics say, I'm not throwing control if I'm up there on the stage. So, you know, Dallas up 1. I think that they're going to have some momentum, especially after such a close map. I think it's going to be all about maintaining that, all about who can get this second map win.
I think it's also a moment where the Valiant are wondering, are Scrimbucks really worth as much as we think? We just tried to cash them in, and all we got was an L.
Sometimes that's just how it be.
Yeah. But now, of course, waiting to get into the next map, which will be Blizzard World. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out here, where, again, we're in a moment where the meta is constantly shifting. And maps, particularly hybrid maps, you tend to see strategies and set plays a little bit more than you do on maps like Control.
I mean, Blizzard World's already a map where we've seen huge amounts of strategic diversity, from the wide open first point to the long sight lines on second, and then finally that constricted Kings Row-esque final capture point. You know, we can see some really, really different stuff come out here in the Overwatch League. So in this meta, I really think we'll be pleased.
It's just something that's really cool about the season so far, and I think it will maintain throughout, is that we're just seeing more looks. We're seeing more heroes get played. We're seeing different combinations come into the fray, and it makes every game must watch.
Note showing on the Rhine right now. I would love to see that. I'd be a little bit surprised, frankly, but honestly, I would love to see it. Decay, though, has been so solid on the McCree, so I definitely think that's a real pick.
The McCree, definitely one of the more consistent picks throughout the day, something that we've seen quite a bit in streams behind the scenes, so don't expect that to be changing, and this might be for real, we'll see. Gate's about to open a moment. I would love to see Note on Ryan.
Oh, I definitely want it too, and it looks like it might just be real, or maybe I'm being debated. No, he is out of the spawn. Let's go, the Note Ryan. What can he do?
Oh boy, we got main tanks playing off tanks. We got off tanks playing main tanks. It is pandemonium here in Dallas. We'll see if the Fuel can have a successful first attack. Note leading the way here on the Rhine. The Valiant trying to charge on through. Both Rhynes headbutting each other. But the Bionate to the back, saved by the Immortality Field. Crypto trying to keep the Fuel alive, but might not be enough. However, Decay still alive, still in the back. Taken down by KSP.
KSP wins the duel, and oh no, now it's time to just clean everybody up. Cowboys moving forward, and without anybody to shut him down, that's going to send the Fuel packing right back to their spawn.
And this is what many people feel could be a secret weapon for the Valiant this year. KSP, many consider him to be a hit scan god.
I will say Note, though, had a great counterpin on that enemy Rhine just to keep Doha up for a couple seconds longer, so looking like no slouch, but how will he fare against the nano boost from Lastro? This could be devastating.
Well, Lastro's gonna get just halted on off, has to look for the stairs, and ooh, almost had D.Va in his face. Now back the other way, the Valiant charging on in. Ginkgos falls early. Decay, the swift assassination, looking for a little bit more, and already the Valiant, they've lost form, and point A might be the Fuels.
Bit of inexperience there, maybe showing for the Los Angeles Valiant. Lastro trying to rotate back to the high ground, and from the way Gig went in, I think he was calling for that nano boost, so it's going to cost the Los Angeles Valiant their first point defense, and without really committing any ults, the Fuel are going to be very happy with that.
I think Lastro might have been still out of sorts just from getting pulled off the high ground.
Definitely. It's hard to catch up with those unexpected movements from an enemy Orisa.
So the Fuel looking to keep the momentum up early. Wall, early isolation. KSF out, but Gig takes note. Out on a ride. Throws him in Nano. And look at that. Doha's Blizzard eaten from the gravy. And the Valiant, nice recovery.
Yeah, great plays coming back from that big Maywall. It looks perfect, and you know, Note even getting a kill on that initial start of the team fight, but the Valiant are a long way from their spawn, so they may be forced to regroup anyway. It's not really going to be much of a team fight victory really for them.
Fuel moving forward, and as you say, even getting those early pickoffs, if it's not fully clean, it's hard to stay at the choke.
I will say though, KSF has really nothing to worry about when it comes to dropping this Blizzard. He just needs to force Gamsu's Fortify, and as they're diving in, oh, everything's caught in the corner, they really can't move.
The Fuel holding back, hoping to survive the cold. So far, oh, the gravy, the bomb stuck to the back. Goodbye, good night.
A 6K from McGravy, beautiful stuff, lighting up the kill feed. Let's take another look at that.
Oh, where did McGravy slot that one in? You take a look right now, a little bit to the far back. Fuel going, it's okay, we're not hit by Blizzard, and oh, devastating.
Great pin by Gig to set that up, getting that full 6K wipe. Fuel now going to take a wide rotation through the Mega Room, might be able to get card control, but KSP with the high noon, zoning everybody.
KSP with the Deadeye. The Fuel desperately trying to look for a way in. The Immortality Field already down, but the Fuel poking back to Valiant. Utilizing the supercharger, making a little bit more space. Now trying to turn into the aggressors, looking to isolate a few people out. Note though, falls for the attempt. Doha isolating KSF on the other side, and it's a little bit scrappy now, Jake.
Very scrappy indeed, but Doha is moving the payload, so the Valiant, they need to regroup and get a handle on this payload. They can't just let this progress come out. It's going to be last fight on second point, so great objective awareness by Doha, getting that progress for his team and setting them up in a position to cap the next point with only one team fight victory.
3 minutes left to go. KSP in a pretty advantageous spot. The Fuel still looking for that one good engage.
I will say though, McGravy has been so hungry for these Blizzards. Doha's gonna have to slip it off. Great Maywall, picking up to Case, putting him over the enemy wall.
Deadeye connects, takes down Gig. Sometimes it's all you need. One can be enough. 6 on 5. Oh! Nasty flick from Decay onto KSP. And once more, Decay proving to be an incredible asset to the Fuel.
Another pickup onto Decay, bringing him onto the high ground. This teamwork is perfect from the Dallas Fuel.
Decay's not done. Decay's still on the high ground, just picking off the Valiant. Left, right, center. Ninth though, looking to stay in. They're not giving this up here just yet. But Gig falls, and KSP, he swapped right to the Widow. This is high risk, high reward.
Someone's gonna have to take him out. He's far in the back, and this fight may slowly be turning as the Blizzard comes out from the Los Angeles Valiant, isolating targets and exposing them to KSP's fire.
I like this from the Valiant. Not only were they able to turn it towards the very end, but Widow has historically been very good against McCree.
The Dallas Fuel are going to really struggle now without any diva to pressure this Widow. There's really nobody who can get on KSP, and if you leave KSP uncontested, I'll tell you what, he will click your head.
This is someone you do not let be alone on Widow. He will destroy your team single-handedly. Walls coming on out early, and Gig looking at some focus fire down, but might have been off more than get two. In real danger, taken on out. The Fuel damaging through. Now you gotta look to KSP. Can KSP get a pickoff to turn this around while the Valiant are trying to buy time?
Sound barrier comes out, but is it enough? Not really much damage here. McGravy does drop the self-destruct, forcing Decay back. He can't deal the damage. KSP watching, hunting,
There's
gets one.
KSP has one, looking for two. Decay in his sights, Decay getting away. KSP can see where they all are, but can't quite hit the rest of the shots. Moving around on the flank, looking once more. Note out of it, Gig moving forward. Shatter ready, but shouldn't even use those. Gamsu just gets slammed into the wall.
Great work by the LA Valiant, somehow coming back into that team fight. Great team play as well, and attacking the Fuel right in that choke. Even without KSP able to support them in that angle, they know that they can't just let the Fuel walk in through that low ground rotation.
You're the Fuel. You got 40 seconds left. You're heading into the last fight. How do you break the stalemate?
The question is, I mean, you've got this high noon, I mean, but really it's all going to be on the supercharger. It's going to be really tough to be able to get a good high noon against KSP's Widow.
Oh, the no! Last row, the finishing blow, the Bionade dealing with him. KSP room to work with Gamsu down, and the Fuel, they're not going to have enough time for a full 6-on-6.
KSP looking so smooth, so well practiced on the Widowmaker. I want to see him go in for more. I love watching this guy. Closer though, going to be able to touch the cart. Slight potential for a back count, but KSP is watching.
This is full Hail Mary territory. Lucio hanging out on the cart, trying to buy time, looking for the miracle. Guangzhou going north to the Hammond, slept! Oh, last row, sleeping the Hammond. No delay shenanigans this time.
Great stuff from the Los Angeles Valiant. What a great full hold on that second point.
Well, we're going to be taking a quick break, but thank you for tuning in. It is the Dallas Homestand Series presented by Frontier, and we still have so much more left to go. The homestand you're going to want to miss. Jake, you know all about how Houston has some great fans.
Yeah, definitely make sure to get your tickets now. They are going fast. I hope to see you in Houston.
But now, we're heading back into our gameplay here at Dallas, where the Fuel, after starting out strong on map 1, hit into a bit of a roadblock on Point B Blizzard World.
I will say it's not over yet. We've seen a lot of teams make a full hold happen here on this first point of Blizzard World. It can be tough to close out in the right situation, and very interestingly, we're seeing Note come out on the Zarya. We saw New York Excelsior bring out this same look. Some teams have been making it work, and I think with the Doomfist, they're going to have a lot of aggressive potential to back it up.
I think it has to be dominating for the Fuel, where the best way that they can turn this one around, get a first point hold.
Doha in a hiding position on the flank, going to be very, very important. He starts us off right, but KSP looks like he's going to come clear it.
Bionade already hitting the back. That was nice from Crimzo, delaying the Valiant approach. And the Doha v KSP setup doesn't quite go as planned. Doha ends up backing out, and now the Valiant moving to the point. And early sleep, early pushback. The Fuel still no case. Oh, Gig catches Doha! And that is a nice start for the Valiant. Already the Fuel down 2.
Fuel trying to swarm Gig. KSP, though, poking away at those backliners. Fuel, though, they're going to have to stop this point. Get that control back. Note, really not getting any value on those Zarya bubbles. Kind of missing both of those bubbles onto the Doom. So synergy not really working out for the Fuel, and the Valiant capitalized so aggressively.
The Fuel are in danger right now. This is the exact opposite of what they needed. They're going to try and make this work. Back up to a full 6v6, have done a decent enough job of delaying, but now they have to stand the point. KSF going to the back, applying very heavy pressure at tank line. Note, taken for a ride. Note about to fall. Gig finishes it off, and the Valiant have capped the point.
Great wall by KSF, cutting off the reinforcements from the Dallas Fuel, and they're going to get that first control, moving their spawn forward. Now it's KSP's turn to charge forward on the McCree, and Doha on this Doomfist just really hasn't been able to find the success that he's looking for. Only at 50% of the Meteor Strike, and Note even less on that Graviton Surge. So this composition is really struggling to be effective, but I think the Fuel are fully committed. They need to just get this Grav Meteor Strike and make it work, and maybe hold right near their final checkpoint.
This is scary for the Fuel. They have to hold for a little under 5 minutes here on Point B. KSP gonna open up with the Deadeye. Doesn't quite get much. The Valiant rotating around all the time in the world on their side. Nano boost onto Gig. KSP already finds Crimzo. The Fuel down 1. Leaving it up. Ran out of the fight. 5-on-5. Gig moving back the other way. The Fuel, the wall behind them. Gig, a Shatter ready to go in the front. Taken off to the side, and Gig is down. The Shatter's not coming out this time.
The side swap here paying off for the Dallas Fuel, but the Gravy and Lastro still holding strong. This could be a tough combo to deal with. That Ana Diva in a corner can hold very, very, very strong. So Decay trying to get a freeze off, but he's all alone here and cut down. Valiant playing on their spawn advantage. Fuel, they're on their last legs, and Note only on 75 in the Graviton Surge. This Zarya pick is just not working out.
The Fuel have burned all their mulligans. If they lose one more fight, that's going to be the map. They're charged up, though, and ready to go.
At the very least, they do have their 5 other ults, if not that Graviton Surge. Doha diving in with a Nano Boost, chops down KSP.
KSP immediately gone. And Doha still hungry for more. Driving on over in a rough spot. Meteor strikes to get out of it. Meanwhile, KSF down, Doha down to the back, looking for a little bit more. Gonna just retreat back to the payload, and this is smart for the Fuel. You don't need to over-engage, but here comes Gig. He's ready to engage, drop the Shatter, but it's not going to be quite enough as the tables turn against him.
The Gravy getting a lot with the Nano Boost, but it's not enough. Fuel holding strong here at that final checkpoint, and Note able to hang on to that Graviton Surge. Should give them a great way to start that next fight off. KSP onto the Widowmaker. I wonder if that was just coming back fast, trying to get that recontest from the Siege Tank position, but will be interesting to see if he elects to keep it. There are some significant open sidelines, but it's much harder to use on the attack than the defense.
The hard part here for the Fuel, Jake, is that they have to still hold for 3 more minutes. This is a long time to go without losing a fight.
This is one of those sidelines I was worried about, though. How do you suppress KSP? Doha's Doomfist charging forward, needs to cut him down.
We'll see where Doha is. Doha down to half HP. I don't think he got on KSP the way he wanted. No! Finished off by Rain. And now the Fuel down their initiation with the Doomfist. An opportunity for the Valiant to put this one away.
It's all on Note's grab, but the question is, where's the follow-up? Crimzo's gonna have to find something completely unexpected with that Bionade.
Blizzard is out, the Valiant moving in right now for the finish, caught with the Graviton. Gamsu looking to dive in, they're trying to defect the Gravy, they get him! He's out of the mech. Something the Fuel needed here as they try and turn this the other way. Gamsu, about 20% away from the Earth Shatter. Doha getting dangerously low, but McGravy can't re-mech. Out of the fight for good. Now you look at KSF on the other side, dangerously low, and the Fuel have done a good job of fighting this one back.
Looks like that D-Mech was just enough, and now Note fully torched, moving forward and spamming. Wants to get that grab charging up again, and only 2 minutes left. Can the Fuel make this hold happen?
It has to be Gamsu, the team leader himself, the main tank, 93%. Hoping for an Earth Shatter. The turn the tide here as the Valiant make another attempt.
Huge sleep though from Blastro, shuts down Doha's dive. Gamsu sitting here with the Nano Boost, but he's got nothing to follow up.
Oh, this is tragic. The Nano about to fade. That one away from the Fuel. Meanwhile, Closer and Decay made purple by Blastro on the other side. But now the Fuel, they're ready to go. The Earth Shatter ready for Gamsu. He drops it, knocks down KSF. That's why that Meanwhile, McGravy, the self-destruct up, over, does not get what he's looking for. Doha, Meteor Strike, over and in, connects on the last row, and the Fuel remain alive!
Just enough here. That was looking so dangerous for the Fuel with the Valiant taking control of that high ground, but Doha manages to take down in last row, and without the heals, the Valiant fall kind of quickly. I'm starting to worry about KSB's Widowmaker. I mean, he needs more than just one pick a fight. He needs to start raining down the frags, and he's going to go back over to the McCree, give himself a little bit more defensibility when that Doomfist comes calling.
I think KSB was also worried about his Widowmaker, given that he swapped. But now, Fuel fans, can you feel it? 1 minute away from potentially stealing this one back. We'll see if the Fuel can do it. Decay holding on to Blizzard. Gamsu in a little bit of danger. The Valiant using the barrier early, going for the poke. Note already down. Gang drops it down the other side. Puts Noah to the turf. And the Valiant, they're moving on forward. They eat the Blizzard. The Blizzard eaten on the other side. McGravy smothers it. And the Valiant about to even up the series 1-1.
Everything coming up Valiant there. Note isolated and frozen before he can get the Graviton Surge out. That's not what you want to see from that Zarya. Great work by KSP as well. The flashbang stopping Gamsu's charge and keeping Gig alive. I thought that pin was certainly going to connect, but KSP slid in to protect his teammate.
Good swap from KSP onto McCree to be the hero the Valiant needed. It's 1-1 here in Dallas. We'll see you soon.
We've got ourselves a series here indeed. The crowd is excited, although I think after that last map, they'd have to take a little bit of second and pause because the Valiant looks so clean there. I mean, there was a little hiccup in closing it out, but that defense just looked rock solid.
It looked very, very good, but to give credit to that hiccup, Dallas came very close to bringing that back, where if you look at Dallas, what really went wrong for them there, their offense just not quite good enough on Blizzard World.
Yeah, closing out that second point can be so difficult, even since that final checkpoint was moved closer. It's still a hard place to cap. I mean, KSP comes out of spawn on that Widowmaker, and how can you stop him? I mean, it's just so much distance to cross, and you're leaving the payload to do it, and if you don't, he just farms your head. So, you know, you're in a bit of a double bind scenario, and that's just great play from the Valiant.
No doubt about it. And I think one thing when you take a look at this meta here too is that because the teams are swapping off what they're running a whole lot, where Doha there on Doomfist was playing May earlier in the series, sometimes things like engages might not be as clean as what you might be used to because the heroes are changing, the maps are changing, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more really rock solid defenses coming out.
Yeah, definitely. Valiant playing off some huge combos, and I want to give a shout out to McGravy. He's had the Blizzard pickups, stuffing those, but also some absolutely massive self-destructs coming in, enabled by great teamwork from the Valiant.
And I think what's really helping with that is that Gig has been sort of throwing himself into the fray, and even if he's the first one to fall, it's making so much space for the Valiant that people like McGravy have been able to move in and take really good advantage.
And just what a perfect instance of it there, pitting the enemy Rhymes, the shield comes down, and what a great self-destruct from McGravy.
Well, we're heading into our next map here. The series tied 1-1. Now we move into Horizon Lunar Colony. And you want to talk about a game type that definitely favors set strategies that will give an edge to a team with a better coaching staff. Assault maps, where it's at.
Definitely true. And what I'm really interested to see on this map is that KSP versus Decay hit scan duel. They've been kind of nipping at each other's heels through the last 2 maps, but we haven't seen that brutal one-on-one domination that I want out of that hit scan mirror. KSP's Widowmaker, really known as, I think, his greatest hero of all time. So on a map like Horizon with those longer sight lines, I fully expect to see it come out.
Meanwhile, the Fuel, you take a look at what they're running here on the defense. You won't be seeing Decay on the Widowmaker, though McCree can definitely, you don't want to challenge Widow straight up, but you can definitely poke when the Widow is distracted. The Fuel are going to be looking here more, Jake, I think, to play sightlines and stay out of the Valiant's longer range with the Widow.
I think if you're going to use this Ryan Orisa on defense, you really want a hero like McCree who can just pump out the DPS. You know, without a diva, you're going to struggle sometimes to finish those kills. So having that McCree May as that backbone of just damage constantly flowing out is going to be really great for the defense. But that might mean KSP is going to be uncontested on the Widow. There's no diva to hunt him down. Fuel just going to be relying on hiding behind their shields.
So for KSP, it's about finding the right sight lines, and ideally one where the enemies are not behind the shield. And it might take KSP a little bit fishing, but meanwhile, the rest of the Valiant, they're just going straight to the point.
Slipping right under, making a lot of space, but Closer finds Lastro. That's a second pickoff for the Fuel. Valiant trying to capture, but the Fuel are right there, shutting it down. KSP has no time at all to find a kill.
I will say, it was a little bit cheeky to immediately try and go for the point, but the Fuel, they didn't blink. They just dropped down and immediately dispatched the Valiant right out of there.
Yeah, it was a great catch as well. Fuel targeting down those supports first. I love the patience from Decay there as well. Knows that the enemy Widowmaker might still be alive and waits for Guangzhou to come up and escort him into the high ground. That's exactly what you want to see from these top teams.
KSP still looking for his opportunity, poking, prodding, looking for the one weakness that the Fuel may have here on the Widow. And now, good damage on the Guangzhou. Guangzhou slept. Guangzhou in real danger here. The Valiant trying to dispatch him. The Fuel, though, giving good support, trying to recover. Oh, Decay's down! KSP strikes! Ends up with 2, exactly what the Valiant was looking for.
3 headshots in a row, takes down 2 enemies and then drops the Orisa low. That's exactly what KSP is here for, unlocking the hit scan potential of the LA Valiant. He's got an infrasight set up to push last. The Fuel, they're looking in a tough spot here. I mean, how do you shut down this Widowmaker when she can spot you across the map?
Well, as we saw from KSP, patience can pay off, and he was waiting at the moment, putting in damage onto Orion, and then just good adaptation, waiting. All right, when's this chance gonna happen? It's Decay, right in the back.
Gosh, man, just absolutely lighting it up, and now Valiant charging forward with the aid of that infrasight.
Decay's down!
Earth Shatter, looking for something.
Decay immediately! And now the Valiant with a golden opportunity. They've dealt with the big cannon of the Dallas Fuel. They're looking to keep the momentum on the way on their side. Crimzo falls. The Valiant, they have the foot on the throat, and they are moving in for more. The Fuel about to let the Valiant set a lightning fast time.
Decay finds one with the high noon, but he's all alone. He can't even touch the point. That's a blistering pace set by the LA Valiant. I don't think there's any way the Fuel can answer that back. They're gonna have a long road to coming back on Horizon Lunar Colony.
I just don't think the Fuel were expecting the Valiant to be that raw and aggressive. And as we see more of this newly revamped Valiant team, that's just something that really strikes out to me, is that this is a team that, when given 2 options, and if one option is wait and the other option is go, they're choosing go about 90% of the time.
I really need to see the Dallas Fuel bring out a diva here. I mean, you can't let KSP be uncontested. There's no stronger proof than that round. I mean, he's just sitting in the back dominating you.
Well, that is the first round over with. We'll see if the Fuel can bring it back right after this. The Valiant are gaining in momentum here in Dallas after a slow start on Control and a fairly back and forth Blizzard world. They are looking to be the team to beat here on Horizon Lunar Colony.
That's just one of the fastest attacks I've ever seen set here on Horizon. I mean, it's not a map you expect to go that quickly. Somehow, some way, the Valiant's aggression totally working out. I love the confidence in KSP. They can send 5 players rushing forward knowing that their Widow is in the backline. They don't plan to defend him. They don't plan to retreat. They just plan for him to click the head. And as long as KSP delivers, that is a very effective strategy.
You have to have faith in your Widow player, where, as anyone who's played Overwatch knows, you have so many moments where you wait for a Widow to do something, and that moment never happens. But if KSP is on your side, it seems to happen quite a bit.
Lastro as well has been on point with the sleeps, and he'll need to stay that way. Dallas Fuel fielding a very aggressive Sombra Genji dive composition. Looks like they're going to commit. They have that Mercy Ana. That's a comp that you play to absolutely max out the potential of this Genji.
This is Doha's signature hero. This was his claim to fame. His Sombra gameplay, one of the fastest building Sombras Overwatch has ever seen. We'll see if that contender's pedigree translates over to the Overwatch League.
Starting to get some time on the control point, but McGravy biding his time, doesn't need to rush to contest, comes with the aid of Rain to quickly push out this Sombra.
Doha already at 25%. Oh, Decay went a little bit in and just got completely pummeled by KSP.
Trying to utilize the distraction from Doha. Doha going again to the capture point, but can't manage to get the tick. KSP looking so deadly, poking out these tanks.
Doha right now, 38%, not quite building as quick as he used to. Guangzhou, though, able to find Rain. The Fuel with something to work with here, but KSP is the raid boss that needs to be defeated, and currently, a lot of room to work with, but hey, time for snooze.
Nice sleep by Crimzo, followed up on the nade. KSP running for the hills, trying to stay alive, and Closer brings a res on a no, but Gamsu is frozen and taken down.
The Fuel getting very beneficial trades, and it didn't seem like a whole lot, but the Fuel in a much better spot right now as they move forward, and the Valiant in a tougher spot.
Good trades overall for the Fuel, but Decay is quite slow on this Dragon Blade after falling so early in the first fight, so Crimzo's going to be sitting on that Nano Boost for a long time, killing some of the efficiency of this comp.
Doha right now doesn't get the rest of the EMP. It's been slower building from the part. Guangzhou finds KSP, activates the Primal. They've dealt with the biggest threat on the Valiant, the Bio nades to the back. Gig and McGravy not feeling very healthy right now. EMP in reserve. You got to think Doha would like to save this here, Jake.
Yeah, it looks like Dallas Fuel will be able to clean up without committing their crucial ultimates. Closer, though, does bring out the Valkyrie, so there won't be that easy combo to set up Decay's Blade as they move on to second point, but first point control, that's all you need to worry about now
can't be
for the Dallas
stopped.
Fuel.
Gamsu cleaning up just about everything there. And now the Fuel, Jake. This is the dream EMP. Dragon Blade on deck. One quick time might deserve another.
Definitely. The question is, what can Decay get done without that damage boost ability coming down on his Blade? Closer gonna switch over to the Lucio and Gamsu to the Ryan, giving their backline a little more oomph, a little more staying power as they get into this fight. KSF also onto the Tracer, wants to dodge that EMP and get something done on the flank.
This is the best opportunity the Fuel will have this round. Doha holding on to the EMP, looking for the raw hack. KSP, Deadeye to zone things out. Doesn't get anything. The Fuel now moving in, they take down Gig! And the EMP has yet to be used. Decay though in danger. Decay gonna get healed back up. Crimzo out of the fight. Dallas Fuel with 5. Do they invest? Oh, Decay
Lastro!
slammed! Decay went in, denied by Lastro, and the EMP never quite has a chance to come out.
Doha thought it was enough, just get that hack off. It did look so good as a start, but KSF and McGravy swept it on the flank and picked up the healers from the Dallas Fuel. You know, you lose one of those backline key heroes and things just fall apart on offense 2CP. So Decay gonna switch off that Genji onto the McCree. I like this switch, something a little stronger to defend that Ana.
Feels like a lost opportunity for the Fuel. They had a lot going into that fight and it didn't pan out.
Still, though, the EMP is going to make it very difficult for Rain to make use of this sound barrier. He's going to have to wait in the wings, waiting for that EMP to come down. If Doha can hack that Lucio, hack that beat, that could be massive for the Dallas Fuel.
And now we look towards Doha. The EMP going to decide this for the Fuel one way or another. Early bio nade, throwing the Fuel a little bit further back. Doha biding his time, opposite of his team, waiting for the right opportunity. Doesn't want to get caught out of stealth.
Maybe looking again for a hack on the tanks. Does get one, but quickly pushed out.
Gets a hack on to the D.Va, but doesn't quite have a great opportunity to drop the EMP. Meanwhile, the Fuel finding themselves engaged on Shatter, falling on down, and Gig with 2.
Nice nano onto Gig, enables him to get that Shatter follow-up. Separating away from Gamsu ends up costing the Dallas Fuel their lives, and another reset. So Valiant, this time bank, they're just inching it down bit by bit. Doha, he's been sitting on this EMP for so long, and oh no, another devastating delay. No, luckily, very nicely finished off by KSP. A little bit of charity going their way.
At some point, you have to wonder if there's going to be a pause and the refs are going to have to go in and check whether or not Doha's Q key is working, and it's just a result of the fact that the Fuel haven't been able to set up in a right way to get the EMP off.
And Rain can just wait all day with this sound barrier. He's not going to get caught. He's going to stay split from his teammates. He knows this thing's online. It's been far too long. It's too obvious that Doha's sitting on an EMP.
Once more, the Fuel moving in, waiting on Doha to set the stage. Asleep on the note, shouldn't result in too much against the Fuel here. The Valiant Biding the opportunity. They are giving a lot of respect to the EMP. Doha moving to the back, going for the hack first. KSP gets caught. No, was able to get to the back. The EMP still in reserve. Gig is down, and right now, the Fuel up 2 with the EMP not used. Got up 2 with another, and the EMP might not be needed after all.
Great work by the Fuel using their beat. Rain can't commit his sound barrier with Doha's EMP waiting in the wings, and Doha, he's still got it. So the question is, can Valiant come back into this fight anyway? I mean, Gig will need the nano boost to stay alive, but he's falling so quickly. KSF takes the nano, just delaying the point for now.
The Fuel very, very close to getting this point. Oh, KSF! The post bomb, but it's not enough. The EMP is used at the very end where it did not matter, so that was probably one of the weirder times I think I've casted where the EMP just stays forever unused.
Well, that's what you have to do, so it's actually great awareness from Doha. When you hold the EMP for a certain amount of time, I mean, you just know that everyone in the server knows about that EMP. There's no question marks in your mind, so Rain feels like he just can't commit his own sound barrier, so when Closer's diving in with his own, it feels like the Valiant, they just don't have an easy response.
And I think you bring up a really good point, just talking about sort of the mind games aspect there, where we saw it moving in. I think the reason why the Fuel was able to get some of those early pickoffs is that when there's an EMP in play, you do have to position in a way around it. Now, you do expect the EMP to come out at some point, usually as the initiation, but in that instance, still worked out for the Fuel.
Will be interesting to see if the Fuel can transition this limited time bank into some good progress here. I think capping first point is essentially a minimum threshold for them. But with this dive composition, if they can win quickly and cleanly, it will be difficult. But if they can manage it, they have a very decent chance to snowball with a nano blade or an EMP. Things can go from bad to worse for the defense if they're able to snowball those fights without losing ults.
One thing that has to go differently for the Fuel this time is that Doha built up the initial EMP very slowly relative to what we know he's capable of. He didn't quite get the same level of support from the backline that he did in his Contenders days. We'll see if he's able to build it up an EMP this time in a minute 20.
The approach here is so important. One player falling for the attack can slow them down so much. That's just the nature of this Genji Sombra comp. You have to play perfectly. If you can make it work, it's devastating, but one little slip up costs you a lot of time, and you can see the poke just looking deadly from the Valiant anytime someone pokes their head out.
The Fuel, though, they need to be acting with purpose. They only have a minute left. They cannot take a lot of time playing footsie here, and ooh. They lost Crimzo. They've completely lost their ability to poke efficiently. If they're unable to get him back up, they do get him back up via Closer. So they're still in the fight, but now down to 44 seconds.
Yeah, the clock just inching down. It's going to be a committed dive in by the tank line. Decay as well, dashing through, but quickly repelled. Great movements by the Valiant, keeping everyone up. Although McGravy is low, needs to get healed up by Lastro.
Final 30 seconds left. Doha, much quicker in the EMP build this time. 30 seconds left, he's at 70%. It could come into play before time is over.
Landing right on KSP's head is Gamsu with a follow-up from Crimzo.
This is looking much better for the Fuel. They've dealt with the hit scan threat in the back. They're starting to swarm the Valiant bit by bit. The K is down, but the rest of the Fuel still fighting McGravy and KSF at death's door right now. Very, very low. The resurrection is in. The Fuel back up to full strength, and they are well on their way to taking point A and keeping this one in contest.
Valiant wanting to fight this, looks like trying to come back in, but with the baby Diva, it'll be a tough test. Looks like this is just clean-out mode for the Dallas Fuel. Oh no, KSF even committing the Blizzard. This looks lost to me. I don't think they can win, but somehow, some way, even committing the Sound Barrier, this is an all-in play for the Los Angeles Valiant.
They force the EMP out.
It's gonna pay off.
They force the EMP out. Doha getting a little scared there. KSP back into the fray. The Valiant are all in, but I have to agree with you, Jake. I don't think this is going to pan out. You got the EMP out from Doha, but you still have just an absolute wrecking ball of ultimates heading your way.
2 tank ults and the blade coming out, and you still have Closer on that Mercy, so the poor man's nano boost might be enough with the tank ults to zone back the DPS from the LA Valiant. KSP, it's going to be really tough to channel a high noon on the Genji with a Winston primaling in your face.
Can Gig land a big enough shatter to derail the Fuel? He's moving on in, looking for the backline. Crimzo falls early, but will that be enough? Decay, Dragon Blade to the other side, chasing down Ana, both on the fight. KSP though, on the follow through, the Valiant starting to fight it back. And remember, they have spawn advantage here. KSP, Gamsu in his face, trying to roll away, looking for his support, firing back desperately, and oh no! The point!
That's just great aggression from the LA Valiant. They're behind on ults and they know it, so you see Gig just diving in on the back line, taking the solo shatter on the Ana. And once you start snowballing those picks, especially if you can get that Ana taken out first, things go from bad to worse on the offense. That spawn advantage for the defense, fighting right out in front of their spawn doors, makes such a huge difference. So I love the awareness from the LA Valiant. You're behind an ult, you have to get aggressive. You cannot wait, or else the Fuel will just dismantle you. But Fuel making great progress, able to cap their first point. If they can get a full hold here, that would enable them to get the map win here on Horizon. But I think realistically, the best they can maybe accomplish is a draw. I mean, it's very, very hard to hold for 4 minutes 44 on first point. If they can accomplish that, I would be very impressed.
Well, the very sad thing there for the Fuel is that they didn't get any progress on point B, despite having a very intimidating start. Gig took a little bit of a gamble moving in on the Crimzo, but it worked out. You dealt with the Ana early, you really hurt the sustain of the Fuel, and unfortunately for the Fuel, you didn't really see a whole lot come out of that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, not really getting enough was Decay. I mean, getting the Ana, but immediately traded back by KSP, and at that point, there was really no threat left to take out the McCree, and he just had free reign to clean up the map. But now it's Decay's turn to take a swing at the McCree, and he's been very precise so far, so I'm expecting big things. Note also, I love this, onto the Diva. Someone to stop KSP's reign of terror. That's absolutely necessary for the Dallas Fuel.
So KSP going to be going fishing once more. And the Fuel must respect. Oh, already! KSP! Much quicker start this time, and this puts the Fuel in a bind.
Note, though, you can see him immediately hunting, but potentially caught off. McGravy instantly back to help out his teammate. That's a second pickoff. Whoa, beautiful stuff from KSP.
The Fuel are simply not working with the numbers anymore on point. Decay, though, off the other side! The flank, evening the odds. And that is exactly what the Fuel needed to get back in this fight.
Exactly that. Somehow Decay staying alive, still delivering the damage. Doha will be back soon, and Fuel are starting to regroup on this first point.
So the Fuel not out of it yet. They're gonna up a little bit of progress, but that is fine. Still up a full 6. Moving forward, looking to freeze out Gig. Decay back to the high ground, deals with Lastro, looking for a little bit more. This is where Decay wants to be. Lucio in his face, down he goes.
Frags going both ways. This fight could really be anyone's. Both primes pitting each other. It's all in the follow-up, but the freeze comes in. KSF's here, aiding his main tank, keeping everyone alive.
Guangzhou getting well supported, still in it, but now one of the pieces of support is gone. Crimzo picked off by McGravy. Valiant trying to press a degree of spawn advantage, but do you think they might need it back out as Guangzhou continues to eat bit by bit of damage, and Rain is able to chase him down!
Rain, I think that's his third frag this team fight. Lucio can be so devastating in these low player situations. He's got his sound barrier, but looks like he wants to just hold on to it. Might be forced to commit just to keep the Valiant in the fight, but looks like their spawn is a little bit closer. They will be snowballing back in with no heals available for the Dallas Fuel. That'll be the end of the first point, just playing for the draw now.
3 points to 3 points. 3 minutes and 18 seconds left for the Valiant. Not to full cap on the final point, but to get a mere 33%. Jake, that changes how you play defense.
So many ults up for the LA Valiant, and can you dodge KSP for 3 minutes? That seems like a tall order to me. The Valiant charging in, stifled by the ice wall from Doha though.
Decay in the back, using the Deadeye, takes out KSP, but falls! KSP now in a prime position, doesn't have to worry about Decay, takes out Closer. Thrown to the ground, Guangzhou trying to deal with the threat, deals with KSP. Meanwhile, the Fuel have to stay on the point. They have nothing to give. Doha's already out of the fight. Guangzhou trying his very best right now. Slapped off the Nano Lastro, an absolute nut.
It might be just enough to hold though for the Dallas Fuel. I honestly like that from Guangzhou. Just solo shadow KSP. You gotta get this guy out of the game or he will destroy you all. But still, 2 minutes and 30 seconds for KSP to work his magic. Decay on the Tracer, I like this as well. You need to pressure this guy. The Widow will destroy you if you aren't on her face.
Seen Tracer used to very good effect earlier in the day from Nene. We'll see if Decay can do the same here. The Fuel trying to burn off the final 2 minutes off the clock. Okay. Doha! Headshot the KSP. That buys you some time.
A little bit of counter sniping here, and honestly, I love Decay on this Tracer. He can be a sort of dynamic duo with Note, always sweeping into the backline, but KSP is gonna respect it, take the switch back to the McCree, give himself a little more self-defense from these divers, and now the question is, can Decay find anything with his Pulse Bomb? His team is gonna have a little bit less ability to pressure shields than KSP with McCree.
I think the Tracer swap has done part of the goal here. It's gotten KSP off of the Widowmaker. Now going to something that's a little bit better against Tracer. The Fuel backing out, making the Valiant commit first onto the point, and there they go. They move on to the point. Decay to the back, gets the stick, connects! 2 down for Decay, and that is some vintage Tracer gameplay.
Absolutely beautiful. Decay gets the value off the pulse bomb, gonna go back to spawn and take the swap, so things are working just perfectly for the Dallas Fuel. This draw is looking more and more in reach as the defense comes together here.
1 minute left to go, potentially 1 fight left. The Fuel, can they hold things off here and now?
The challenge for me is KSF does have the Blizzard advantage right now. Crimzo does have the nano boost if the Blizzard only finds one, but if it's too many people frozen, then that won't be much help. And a beautiful ice wall from KSF forces the Fuel onto the low ground.
Wall v wall, the Fuel backing up a little bit. Crimzo looking for the sleep. McGravy awfully low, so is Gamsu. Nice nano on the Gamsu, keeping him alive. Meanwhile, Gig in danger. Gig falling, Blizzard used, but the Fuel have already taken out 2. KSF gave up his life for that. Gamsu down, the Valiant still looking into it. The McCree still in play. Decay versus KSP. Who's it gonna be? Sound barrier drop. The Valiant, they want to finish this now. KSP's in the back. Note is down. The Fuel are staggered. They're hurting. And KSP takes down Decay. The Valiant, they're almost there.
This high noon can be devastating. Nobody to stop KSP. They're forced to come to the point, and it's not enough. Valiant take Horizon Lunar Colony.
The Valiant down to their final fight once more, making it work and continuing the tradition of the day of the team losing control first, looking so good on everything else. The Fuel, they're down to their final map life. Can they rally here at home? We'll find out soon. The Valiant have walked into Dallas, and thus far, they have kept the crowd silent. But we'll see if that lasts as we head into our next map. The Fuel, they're down, but they're not yet out.
Definitely, the maps still appear to be fought for the Dallas Fuel. This could be a potential turnaround map here as we come onto the Escort game type. This is a place where it's up to the really the Widowmaker to dominate. This is a map where Widowmaker has dominated for as long as the map has been out in Overwatch. In Overwatch League and Ranked, I think everyone has experienced how deadly a Widowmaker can be, especially on Junkertown first point.
If you're a fan of the Valiant, you like hearing everything that you just said, given how dominating KSP has been so far, given his history as a player. Junkertown might as well be his hometown, but I think it would be unwise to underrate Decay, who is very, very good at Widow himself.
And we really haven't seen that true Widow duel. It's been mostly KSP going over to the Widow and Decay making other hero choices. So I think finally the fans will get what they've been hoping for, the rookie versus the experienced Decay. So the question is, can KSP do it? But he just looks so hot so far.
KSF was considering flirting with the Genji pick, ends up going to the Hangzhou. It is double sniper, double the threat for Decay to worry about.
The Sonic Arrow really gives KSP a huge advantage if KSF can spot out Decay for his teammate. McGravy as well makes first contact. KSP though playing a very safe angle. McGravy forcing Decay to constantly run.
The Fuel staying on the point right now. The Valiant trying to play the angles, and oh, Decay gets caught. McGravy was able to get around to the side, and that means KSP has so much more work with McGravy. He's not even done yet.
Note trying to match the Diva play and shut down KSP, but KSP just sitting back in his own spawn, doesn't need to worry, and that leaves McGravy free to fly around the backline and clean up absolutely everybody. So heads up play by McGravy, understanding that Note is caught up, trying to deal with this Widowmaker. He's free to become that DPS Diva every Diva aspires to be.
3 minutes left for the Valiant and a very good first fight. The Fuel, they're a little bit drained here. Jake, how do they rally?
The question is really for me all about the Widow duel, but KSP is going to have a big advantage. He can set up wherever he wants, and I love this from Rain, scouting out for his team, calling everything out. There's really no surprises coming in from the Fuel so far. High ground completely controlled.
He's thinking about going for the boop on the same side. Gamsu getting controlled, bionated, frozen, in real danger. Lastro on to the other side. The Fuel trying to even out, but Crimson and Doe are both down, and the Valiant are just brawling out in this corner, and it's working out really well.
It gets the pin. Decay, though, coming out on top of the duel. The question is it enough? Now caught in the middle of the map are most of the players for the Dallas Fuel. It's a Lucio on Lucio brawl near the edge, but the superior tank line still living for the Los Angeles Valiant. Should secure it. Oh, KSF!
The Valiant are in full control here so far. The Fuel desperately trying to look for some form of footing. and they wisely decide not to go for the contest there.
Blastro, what an unsung hero, sleeping. No, that's the player you needed to come touch the card, but Blastro hits a sleep like that, you just have to give up the point. So great work from him, and now a nail was ready to come down. Decay's constantly running, caught again. He's not even able to take the duel.
You must defeat my team to stand a chance against KSP is sort of what is going on right now. KSP has been given infinite amounts of space, and this has been problematic for the Fuel. Fuel, though, getting a little bit scrappy on the top, trying to take fights here and there, and getting a bit of delay onto the payload as the Valiant regroup.
This sort of extremely split fight is going to favor the team with closer spawns as frags go both ways. Valiant still pushing close to their own checkpoint, so really is going to benefit them. But Fuel, they're building up a bank of ultimates. They will have an opportunity to make the hold as both infrasites come out.
No secrets here for either team. Everyone, they can see everything.
Everyone exposed, it's all on the hit scan.
Meanwhile, we got a Rhine battle. Rock up, sock up, Gig going in for the charge. Guangzhou responds, and they're both frozen. Reinhardt, Spider-Man in action. Decay, though, down on the other side. Rain was able to hunt him down. Meanwhile, the Fuel on the payload. Crimzo evening the odds. Guangzhou looking for the charge, and down goes KSF.
Nice sleep from Crimzo to set that up. Looks like Fuel will have an opportunity to stabilize. And look at this, Closer able to hold on to that sound barrier. That will be so important. Fuel, they have an opportunity to move forward and take these close chokes on second point. I wonder if they'll take it or just elect to control this mid-high ground.
So far, even though it hasn't been pretty, Fuel have done a pretty good job here, Jake, of delaying things out.
Yeah, exactly. KSP, though, looking hungry, wants to find something on this Widow. Coming up on a significantly faster infrasight than Decay. If he can get that up early, it'll be a big edge. Maybe enough to defeat that sound barrier from Closer, but I expect to see Dallas Fuel getting highly aggressive when Closer elects to commit.
Meanwhile, the Valiant going up to the high ground, looking for the approach, trying to isolate. No, just zooms on out of there, not a big deal, and KSF slept. Nice stuff from Crimzo on the other side. Decay, though, again, finding himself being pressured. Gig falls, KSP, room to work with, finds Closer. KSP, the Widow that has not been pressured nearly as much so far.
Everyone getting split here for the Dallas Fuel, fighting on the Valiant side of the map, so it's a great isolation by McGravy and Rain. McGravy, though, caught out, potentially a little aggressive, so this just turns into a massive flank for the Dallas Fuel. Widow on a flank, that's not something you see every day. KSP, though, still finds another. Can somebody shut him down?
The fights are just taking place all over Point B. This is not a focused death ball v death ball, no. We got one-on-ones, two-on-twos. But what's important for the Fuel, they've been delaying here, Jake.
Yeah, they still will have time to wait out the infrasight from KSP. Decay with his own, ready to pop with just one more body shot. So this is potentially looking a little bit tough for the Valiant. Nice ice wall, though. Catches one.
Guangzhou has to drop the shot under pressure. It's not ideal. He falls. Gig following through the ice wall, setting that up for KSF. And now the Fuel at a distinct disadvantage. The final fall through from the Valiant, and that's going to be Point B.
And what an important duel victory for KSP. Finds Decay just as Decay finishes charging that infrasight. So what a crucial headshot to be hitting at that exact moment. Now Decay, he does have that infrasight, but he can't use it yet. His team is still regrouping, which gives KSP more and more time to catch up and potentially have a counter wall of his own.
A little bit of a sleep there. Crimzo putting KSF down for a bit. And Decay on the follow through. The world's easiest headshot. And again, this gives Fuel time to work with here. Valiant, they don't really want to heavily engage down a May.
Jump shot from KSP finds nothing. Decay's infrasight is over, though. Note, though, it does find Gig, and that's going to spell the advantage for Dallas Fuel. Might send Valiant running for the hills.
Okay, decent spot. Moving over to the left. Now fully set up as Widow, and I think you get a little bit more space here, Jake.
Yeah, the major advantage here is that KSP does have the infrasight. That's going to enable his team. This hiding play from Doha is going to be completely scouted out. So no secrets. Everyone from the Fuel going to have to play together, stay grouped, but it's a nice split from the Valiant slipping through the chokes.
Nano on the Guangzhou, and KSP wins the Widow duel and wins more than that. Takes out Crimson on the other side. The Fuel, though, they were charging with Guangzhou. Guangzhou led the way to 2. It's 4-on-4. Doha trying to buy time, holding on to the Blizzard, waiting for the beat to go down. No, doesn't have a chance to drop the Blizzard in the end. Now it's going to be the Valiant taking a crucial fight here on Point C.
Great fight from the Valiant, although I do agree with the decision from the Fuel not to commit that close to the enemy spawn. You want to wait for that optimal place to hold, which is on that final end of the checkpoint. And here we see a replay from McGravy swarming the enemies in this corner. So devastating at close range is this Diva.
I feel like they forget about McGravy sometimes. When McGravy goes, maybe you shouldn't forget about me. I'm going to do things like this.
That was such a sweet triple kill booster from McGravy. Love to see it. And now he's got the self-destruct. What can he do with it?
McGravy here on the payload. The Fuel, though, looking pretty charged up. Gig, though, one good Earth Shatter could ruin their day. The Valiant right now keeping the payload progress as #1 priority. The Fuel moving forward, and they drop the Nano on McGravy after the self-destruct. Oh, it gets Guangzhou! It ends up working out. Now McGravy back the other way, deals with his counterpart, and this is looking real good for the Valiant to start the other. Oh, no! The response! It's a far bigger Diva Bomb in the back.
You hate to see a little bit of miscommunication coming out from the Valiant. Nano Boost essentially wasted, and oh no, now McGravy's gonna get staggered, and with only 40 seconds on the clock, this is so devastating. Oh, that's not what you want to see if you're a fan of the Los Angeles Valiant. Fuel looking to hold strong here with a massive support hold advantage. This is going to be tough. I mean, you've got a Shatter, you've got a Blizzard if you're the LA Valiant, but so much defensive utility available for the Dallas Fuel. It's going to be difficult to actually capitalize and turn those ults into kills.
Final 20 seconds, the Fuel about to hold the Valiant off here on Junkertown. Crimzo holding on to the Nano, waiting, puts it on the Guangzhou. Guangzhou waiting for an opportunity to go forward. Doesn't quite get the chance to dive onto the Valiant. The beat is used. Oh, no, catches KSP. The big threat in the back is gone. The Blizzard invested for the Valiant, but it's not ringing very true. The Fuel in a very good spot. Up in numbers. The Valiant in big retreat here, but they can't go far. In overtime, the Fuel in a dominant spot. And Decay moving forward, looking to clean it up. The beat from the Valiant, the last gasp. The pin comes in, Gig is down, and the Fuel about to hold off the Valiant here.
Decay free-firing in the back line. At least Rain is able to shut him down, but still desperation mode for the Valiant.
Guangzhou just drops a Shatter, thinking that's going to be enough. The Valiant, very hard to get rid of here, but they don't stand the point, and the Fuel stop them there.
Able to hold on third point are the Dallas Fuel, but I can't help but feel that KSP is coming out on top of this Widowmaker duel. The real question is, what can Dallas do on this first point where I really feel that there's no one who can stop a Widow but your own Widow. That sightline is so massive. Even with the quick Diva booster, there's just such an insane range for the Widow to scout targets that are approaching her. It's really all on that Widow duel who can come out on top time and time again, and it feels like it's been KSP more often than not this series.
I will say, in defense of Decay, I'm not sure this has been a duel. It's more like a duel where you're going, let's have a fair one-on-one, and then the person that's challenging you to a duel has his two buddies come out and just knock you into the dirt before the duel even begins, because Decay has been under an enormous amount of pressure from the rest of the Valiant, where I don't think really KSP has been under that same pressure from the Fuel.
We talked about the scrappiness of these fights, and I totally think you're right. It's Rain and McGravy initiating that scrappiness, sending themselves in deep on the flank. You think of Lucio as this core support hero, speeding your Ryan around, but in this case, they're using him as a DPS. They're following up McGravy's damage and shutting down Decay time and time again, and forcing his rotation, scouting him out. All those things play to KSP's advantage. Not only the calls coming in, letting him know where to expect the enemy Widowmaker, but sometimes just killing him outright. So you're definitely correct on that front.
We'll see if more space can be made for Decay here, although, you know, you mentioned Widow v Widow. How about a Tracer? Because that looks to be the flavor that the Fuel is going for here in a must-win map to keep the series alive.
Definitely possible to leverage that Tracer, especially with the help of a Diva and a Lucio to dive the Widow. But again, these sidelines are very long. KSP has the opportunity to play at an extreme range.
Decay on the Tracer, heading to the back, looking for the Widow, and oh, hello, goodbye. Nice pickoff from Decay. Picture perfect. And why win the Widow duel when you can just be Tracer and mug the enemy Widow?
An unscouted flank from Decay comes up huge as well, comboed by the sleep from Crimzo. So great work from the Fuel, cracking out of the spawn hold instantaneously. KSP gonna switch back over to the McCree, and I can't help but wonder, what'll Decay do? Back to the McCree on his own. Wants that mirror match. We see a full 6-on-6 mirror. We haven't seen much. KSP goes back to the Widow. He says, you're not gonna dive me anymore? Oh, let's duel.
This is Hero Chess at its finest. Decay didn't want to go Tracer for McCree, but now Gig a little bit far forward. The Fuel more than willing to punish. 6-on-5. The Valiant in some real danger here. Note on the hunt, looking for Widow, looking to just shut down the Widow threat. Or McGravy and Rain doing work on the other side. This is not one yet for the Fuel. It's back and forth. McGravy on one side, Note taking down on the other. And Decay looking a little bit alone here. Decay and two supports. The rest of the Valiant just tanking it all up.
That fight started so good for the Dallas Fuel, but the Valiant, they're so scrappy, they stay in it. And it's that Lucio Diva combo, once again, diving in aggressively. Nano comes on to Guangzhou, but he can't really get aggressive here, forced to just not do much. I mean, swinging on the enemy ride, but doesn't get that cleave that he's hoping for.
Ooh, Guangzhou gambled on the Shatter, doesn't get much. The Valiant just shutting it down bit by bit, piece by piece. And speaking of hero chess, Decay got to the Tracer here as the Fuel, they invest the Blizzard, they try to keep this fight alive. KSP's down, the Fuel staying on in it. Shatter from Gig, back the other way, doesn't get anything as KSF takes the high ground and is in real danger.
KSF stuck in a full duration Blizzard there, but protected by his Ana. Now the sound barrier coming up from the Valiant, and beautiful stuff coming out from KSF on the May. Great team play by the rest of his squad to keep him alive. I mean, rarely do you see a squishy hero last through a full duration Blizzard. That's just great support work coming out from Lastro.
The games of hero swaps continue, Jake. KSP now to the McCree, Decay still on the Tracer. The circle of life continues.
Certainly, and although we talked about Widow being so dominant in these long sidelines, an uncontested McCree can be much the same, especially when that High Noon comes online. So Decay, the question is, how much can he get done here? May and McCree, very strong heroes at dueling a Tracer.
I mean, Decay has to be perfect, the movement has to be on point, the damage has to be delivered. And so far that's the case. The Pulse Bomb could be the difference maker. Decay holding on to it, waiting, looking to finish off McCree, denies the remake. That's a good start. Now Decay, darting to and fro, danger on all sides, chasing down the Ana, up and over we go, and gets it! Decay continues to be on the prowl!
Decay just looking ferocity on this Tracer, no one seemingly able to take him out. KSF one last stand. Oh, and he gets it, but that'll cost him his life.
That was fine. That was a good effort by Decay, and that's putting it mildly. It did enough to get the Fuel through point A, but there's still a long, long way to go.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Both teams coming up on that Blizzard will be crucial here. Note, though, does have to self-destruct, will give his team that initiation advantage, although there is a potential weak moment where if you commit that self-destruct, you've got nobody left to stifle KSF's Blizzard.
The Fuel, hoping to get some momentum. The Pulse Bomb was not used the last fight, but it might start out this one, and oh, Decay's caught. Still, moves forward, Pulse Bomb onto the May, ice blocked, denying the impact here from Decay.
No kills, and now Valiant pushing forward on this tempo swing. Guangzhou stunned, push back, trying to finish that Shatter, but it's Gig who comes up with it first, finds both supports on the ground.
Puts both supports to the ground, and is his own finish in the end. And the Valiant, I think, almost overcommit on ults here. I don't think they needed to drop the Blizzard towards the very end, but I guess they wanted to feel secure.
Yeah, KSF, I can't help but feel like that was a bit of a waste, but they are going to get a massive stagger onto Node here potentially, or just feed some of that damage onto their own Baby Diva. I love that, actually, getting McGravy back in his suit, ready for that next fight.
So the Valiant holding strong. 2 minutes left for the Fuel to make something happen, or they will suffer their first loss at home.
Certainly looking that way. Valiant holding strong. The Fuel, they're going to have to pull something out of their hat here. They do have that double tank ult play. Trying to break the barrier is the May, though.
Self-destructing over the top, looking up to turn the tide. No! Valiant, too aggressive, just catching the Fuel off guard.
Great work by them, diving forward on the self-destruct. You have to make a decisive decision one way or the other. Go in or go out. You cannot split. So great awareness by the Valiant, knowing that bomb is going to be deep behind them. They charge in and make it work, and just kind of wasting your ults. If you are Dallas Fuel here, you do have some support ults, but Rain has the sound barrier, so can you really leverage the Nano?
Oh, that is so sneaky. The wall for the Instant Earth Shatter, but I don't think it's enough. Decay got plunked on entry. And KSP not done yet. Looking for a little bit more. The Deadeye, though, really setting the pace for this team fight as the Fuel are now going to be down to their final minute.
Patience from KSP with the flashbang pays off, shuts down Note, and it's just KSP and Lastro, the dynamic duo. They can't seem to take down this McCree. He's so accurate, so deadly. He's just pumping out the damage. I mean, it feels like the Fuel have to answer this, but what more can they do? I mean, Note is diving in, Closer's diving in, but Valiant, they're just coalescing around this McCree and not letting him fall. Now it's their turn to have ultimate advantage. Fuel, not much in the tank here.
The Fuel need a miracle. Maybe it comes from Guangzhou. The Blizzard Eden, that's one step, but Guangzhou dies immediately. The Blizzard's gone, KSF is out. Gig walks forward, drops the Shatter, and the Valiant more than willing to follow up on that. Final 30 seconds for the Fuel here at home.
Decay finds one, slips out the side, needs to stay alive. Only 20 seconds left on the clock. A stagger here could mean the end of the match. Decay though finds another, looking deadly.
Anytime the Fuel need life, they go to that special brand of Decay power, and they're not out of it yet. 10 seconds remaining for them to get through to point B.
That flank, so risky, but so crucial. That's exactly what the Fuel need, and they're able to win that fight with a minor ultimate commitment, now in a major advantage, looking to close out second point and get some more time on the clock.
Doha, Blizzard, ready to go. The Fuel could not be more charged. Deadeye from KSP, fishing, looking for something. The Blizzard from Doha, out successfully, makes a point, a little bit chilly. Okay, Deadeye in the back, gets McGravy, Gig is down, the front line from the Valiant, no longer a thing. And the Fuel doing what they need to do to stay alive here in Junkertown, but KSP, he's still a threat, he's still in the back. The Fuel have not won this just yet. The Bionade coming in from the side. Where is KSP? He's still around, he's coming in from the back. The Fuel though, they get the point.
KSP does a lot, but it's just not enough. Too many ults for the Dallas Fuel, but they have to commit absolutely everything to close out that point. That's a great fight from the LA Valiant, down 5-1 on the ults, and somehow they still force everything out of the Fuel. That kind of took the wind out of their sails. I thought this could be a snowball, but now they're back trying to charge up more ultimates. All they have is Gamsu's Shatter, and it can be pretty tough to get a good Shatter without any ultimates on support.
The Fuel are still very much in the danger zone. Only a minute remaining here, Jake. That's a good 2 to 3 fights in a row that they need to win.
Valiant prioritizing that high ground control. Big sleep by Lastro. Sets up on the May. That's no one to drop the ice wall. Gamsu charging forward.
Both Gamsu and Doha low, eating the Bionade to start things out. Fuel able to recover a little bit. No, Doha got chased down. The supports on the prowl, and Gamsu just out alone behind enemy lines. And this puts the Fuel once more into do or die here at home.
Completely isolated in the backline is Gamsu. That's great awareness by the Valiant, booping him back there and then leaving him alone to think about what he's done while they clean up his teammates. So Fuel regrouping, but only 20 seconds left on the clock. Someone's actually gonna go through on a suicide mission just to touch the cart.
Very likely to be closer or note. Meanwhile, Gamsu holding on to the Shatter, going to potentially be the key here once more. The Fuel enter into what could be the final fight. KSP, Deadeye in the back. There's the Shatter from Gamsu, puts him right to the floor, but his falter gonna be there. Gamsu gets an nano to beat. Gonna save him when he needed it most. McGravy demeched. And now the Fuel playing around the Blizzard from KSF as best they can. KSP though, on the other side, ends up with 2. It's Decay, it's KSP. Both McCrees fighting tooth and nail. Decay finds KSF. Where's KSP? Decay continues his assault. KSP fights the other way.
KSP, this man can't be stopped, comes out on top of the duel. Now he's got the nano boost, no one can stop him. He wants this map win, he wants the series.
It's the Electric Cowboy here in Dallas, and what a poetic way to end the Dallas here at home, but it's not happening just that way. The Fuel, they're back onto the payload. We go one more time as Quinto falls early. Shatter being down, KSP still a threat, and that's it.
Insane stuff from the Los Angeles Valiant here in Dallas. The crowd is quiet, and I feel for them. KSP, what an absolutely monstrous performance in his debut in the Overwatch League, and what a final fight to end it all.
The Valiant walked in to a hostile arena here today. Packing said, we want to quiet that crowd. We want revenge for last year, and the Valiant achieved both.
Such great stuff from both teams. We saw a lot of stuff, if you're a Fuel fan, that you can be happy about. A lot of great plays coming out. This wasn't a stomp by any means, but the Los Angeles Valiant, so many people rating them low, thinking they can't do it. Too many rookies. They don't have the experience. KSP just laughs in the face of that experience and delivers just a stunner of a final fight. What a way to end that series.
KSP establishing himself as one of the rising stars here in the Overwatch League, continuing to build on greatness that we observed last year.
Dallas, this is going to be tough, taking a loss in front of their hometown crowd, and their next match up against the San Francisco Shock, last year's defending champions. This could be a tough weekend here in Dallas.
Definitely does not get any easier. As say that, Super is blowing us kisses. Can't see it on camera, but he's feeling pretty good about tomorrow's matchup, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Super's always been confident. I don't think that's ever been his issue.
No. Well, what more can you say? Incredible weekend here of Overwatch thus far, and this is just day one. The best is yet to come.
What an insane storyline too. The rookies upsetting the Dallas Fuel, especially after the Fuel adding so many superstars to their roster, taking what already was successful and making it yet stronger. And it's a group of rookies to take them down first. You've got these players like McGravy, like KSP. They're hungry. They want to get their name out here. And if you're a fan of the Overwatch League, they better have achieved that for you tonight.
Well, right now, there's Valiant fans hungering for more information. That's why we got Josh with an interview with McGravy.
Thank you very much, ZP. I am joined down here with McGravy, the off-tank for the LA Valiant, after a monumental win, honestly, over Dallas. It's got to be said, this isn't a friendly crowd to the LA Valiant. They booed you last year, they booed you this year. But you got some fans out there, though, it must be said. When you come out here and there's that kind of reception, you seem like the kind of player that gets amped up by when the crowd is hostile, when they're against you. How does it feel to walk out and hear that kind of stuff?
We've been the underdogs since the very beginning, preseason. Even before that, we've been underdogs. We were rated really low, so coming out here and hear everyone boo us, and they just don't want us to win. It's a really good feeling to come out here, and it's pretty quiet right now.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Okay, you are the first team to beat Dallas at their home arena. They went unbeaten last time, and you've taken them down here. You also got revenge previously, and I know that you have a bit of a personal rivalry with Dallas Fuel too. So, is it fair to say that you came into this match, the whole of the LA Valiant, with a bit of a chip on your shoulder?
Absolutely. I mean, I was their academy team for about 8 years. They've had plenty of time to, pick me up. So coming out here and giving a win is it's big for me and it's big for the team.
You go up against the Vancouver Titans tomorrow. You've already had an opportunity to see them. How are you feeling about that match? It's
going to be a tough match. The Titans are really good. There's no sugarcoating. They're a really good team. But if we come out there and settle down like we did in that match, and anything's winnable.
Well done up here against the Dallas Fuel, and good luck in that match as well. I'll send it back to you guys, CP and Jake.